The most favored nation, or MFN principle, is one of the main pillars of the multilateral trading system. It ensures non-discrimination between trading partners. If a WTO member grants to a country an advantage, it has to give that same advantage to all WTO members. Members of the WTO can be seen as members of a club. One of the fundamental rules of the club is that each member will grant all other members the best possible treatment it grants to any trading partner. In general, the MFN principle ensures that every time a WTO member lowers a trade barrier or opens up a market, it has to do so for the like goods or services from all WTO members, without any regard to the member's economic size or level of development. It is worth noting that the MFN principle requires a WTO member to accord to other WTO members any advantage given to any other country, whether or not that country is a member of the WTO. Note that the opposite is not an obligation. That is, a WTO member could give an advantage to other WTO members without having to accord that same advantage to non-WTO members. The MFN principle applies in the field of trade in goods, trade in services, and trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. It is worth noting that there are important exceptions to the MFN principle, which will be explained elsewhere in this course. Now, let's see how the MFN principle contained in Article 1 of the GATT, at least for trade in goods, applies through a practical example. Let's suppose that Vanin and Madetia are WTO members, while Tristat is not. Okay, let's assume that Vanin applies a 20% tariff on imports of tomatoes coming from all WTO members. Madetia is a big exporter of tomatoes, interested in increasing its exports of tomatoes to Vanin. During a WTO negotiating round, Madetia seeks to negotiate the customs duty rate on tomatoes with Vanin. After long and very difficult bilateral meetings, Vanin agrees to give Madetia duty-free access for tomatoes, that is, a 0% tariff. Now, let's consider some questions. Does Vanin have to extend that 0% tariff on tomatoes to all WTO members? Yes. According to the MFN principle, Vanin has to extend the 0% tariff duty-free access on like tomatoes from all WTO members, because all WTO members should enjoy the most favorable treatment for tomatoes granted by Vanin. Another question. Could Vanin apply a 10% tariff on imports of tomatoes from Tristat, that is a non-WTO member, while providing duty-free access for tomatoes, that is a 0% tariff, to WTO members? Yes, Vanin can give an advantage to a product from WTO members without having to extend such an advantage to non-members. In other words, only WTO members benefit from the most favorable treatment granted. Third question. Could Vanin apply a 10% tariff on imports of tomatoes from WTO members while providing duty-free access for tomatoes, a 0% tariff, from Tristat, a non-member? Well, what do you think? No. All WTO members must benefit from the better treatment given to any country, whether or not a WTO member. One relevant issue is whether the tomatoes from Madetia are like products vis-a-vis tomatoes from other members. If they are not like products, different treatment may be applied. In the example, we are assuming that the tomatoes from Madetia and those from other WTO members are like products, and therefore the benefit, that is the 0% tariff, shall apply to all members. It is important to note that there are exceptions to the MFN principle. If one of the permitted exceptions to the MFN principle applies, Vanin would not need to extend the 0% tariff given to tomatoes from Madetia to all other members.
好，我们来看一下本期视频的中英文文本和重点词句。First one, an advantage， 在这里是指优势的意思，也指优惠的意思。Next one, any trading partner， 任何贸易伙伴。Next one, any other country and that country， 这里这个 that country 指的是前面提到的这个 any other country。Next one, without having to accord that same advantage to non-WTO members， 不必向非世贸组织成员提供同样的优势或者优惠。Next one, through a practical example， 通过一个实际例子。Next one, customs duty rate， customs 是海关的意思， customs duty 就等于 tariff 关税。Customs duty rate 则是关税的税率。Next one, duty-free access 免税准入 access 途径入口，这里指的是准入。Next one, 0% tariff duty-free access 0%关税的免关税的准入。这里 duty free 就等于 0% tariff， 这里属于是同一个意思，两次出现，表示强调。access 前面有讲到，指的是准入的意思，这里不指入口，指的是准入。market access 市场准入。Next one, vis-a-vis 与谁谁谁对比，相对于谁谁谁，类似于 as opposed to 与谁谁对比，类比于谁谁谁。Next one, exceptions to the MFN Principle， MFN 原则的例外，这里注意介词使用的是 to。 好，本期分享就是这些，请大家点赞，请大家关注，我们下期再见。